Home Service Ambassador Real Estate Company. The inventory has gone up to 3.3 months supply of inventory. Listings are gone up. Number of listings gone up over the last 7 days, and our pendings went down slightly a little bit. So what does that mean for you as a buyer and a seller? That's what we're going to talk about today. But first, let's jump into our quick tip. Quick tip today, we're going to be start seeing coming out in the mail your property tax valuation, your property valuations that the county feels your house is worth. So good news, bad news. Obviously, we always want our houses to go up, but obviously, as our valuation goes up, so do our property taxes. So, in that light, if there is a discrepancy that you feel that went up too high, give me a holler. That's something that I can help with you and do protests. I've actually gone down to the courthouse at in Douglas County here and done protests for my clients and friends. Even in Washington County, I've done that for myself, which I live up in Blair, which is Washington County. They're a little bit quicker on the ball in Washington County when you say, "Hey, we want to protest. Hey, we'll come out to your house tomorrow." Which in Douglas County, obviously the population density is a little bit bigger here. They take a little time. Maybe might not come out to your house. So depending on what county you are in, it matters how you formulate that protest for that valuation. The biggest thing in that is having data, having evidence based on that protest. So that's something we're willing to help you hit with here. So our quick tip today: if you get a valuation, you feel your valuation is too high, give me a holler. Happy to run a quick market analysis on it for you. Some of them we can't protest. Some of them, all the values where the sale price is, it is what it is, and you can't protest it too much. But that's information I can give to you on what's going on in that light. So as we move forward here, let me do our little presentation here. Get this into the present full screen. All right. So you guys should be seeing, Russ, are you seeing that on your side? Basically, our
Yep.
numbers. All right, awesome. So what's the market doing over the last 7 days? So like I said, the new listings at 622. That was, I think it was at 579 last week. Our new contracts is at 434. I think we were like 470 roughly last week, and our sold homes went up a little bit. So what does that mean for you as the home buyer, home seller? So obviously, with that months of inventory going up to 3.4, which is indicative of what we're seeing here on the numbers wise. So that basically means we are moving more towards a neutral market at 3.3 months supply of inventory. So that's shifting into a neutral market. Three and below, 0 to 3 months supply of inventories are sellers, 3 to 6 neutral, and above that 6 months supply of inventory is usually our buyer's market. We haven't been in a buyer's market for a while. Being in this business, I think this will be my 18th year going in here. So back in 2008, we had 9 months supply of inventory, almost 20 years ago. So basically, I feel I've been through at least one or two cycles here of going back and forth. So breaking it down a little more from a buyer seller side. From a buyer side, you're getting more options out there. You're getting more homes on the market to choose from. Obviously, less competition over this last week, so you see more houses, less contracts getting written. Obviously, your negotiation power is improving a little bit. So those buyers, those sellers, maybe don't have multiple offers, and you're able to negotiate, maybe closing costs or home inspections or things of that sort. So from a seller side, obviously more homes are hitting the markets. That means more competition. You need to stand out in your with your house. And so obviously pricing, condition are the key aspects of those elements. Making sure that having us come out, Champions Real Estate Team, Realtor coming out, meeting with you, getting an idea of what we need to do to get that house ready. That's something I love. I love doing. It's a coaching aspect of it. To make sure that we can maximize, getting the amount of buyers into your house, maximize the price, from a seller's aspect of it, getting you out there first before you get a whole bunch of competition in the front door at the same time with you. So obviously market is, starting to balance, and we'll see, it'll shift. The market shifts, as we'll touch here with Russ Williams at Williams Mortgage of what the interest rates are doing. That kind of is, pushes buyers off the fence in that side. So I mean, you got a lot of geopolitical things going on. Obviously, weather's getting nice. You're getting more traffic. Open house traffic I've seen, just has picked up a little bit. Buyers getting out there when the weather's nice. So obviously, we just touched on it with Russ, but let's jump in here with Russ and see what's going on in the mortgage side. So how are we doing, Russ?
Doing pretty well. Mortgage rates have pretty much traded sideways for the last week. Everybody's watching what's happening in the Middle East, although we are seeing mortgage rates respond a little bit less to what is or is not happening there. We feel pretty fortunate that we passed the 8 o'clock deadline last night, that things didn't escalate further. Sounds like that can has been kicked down the road for a couple of weeks here as they negotiate. But having said that, we are watching closely. Statistically, and of course, we have the geopolitical factor that you mentioned, Mark. Statistically, When we have oil double, it generally results in a recession or at least a slowdown in the economy. And we actually are sitting at, last I looked, $115 a barrel, where it was $60 a barrel in January. So if that were to happen, that could be favorable for mortgage rates. Obviously, other facets of the economy could suffer. Is that guaranteed to happen? No. We have the unusual piece of this geopolitical conflict going on. But having said that, when we did see mark interest rates drop down to below 6% about a month ago now, a little over a month, we saw a lot of people come off the sidelines. And so that put lots of pressure on multiple offer uh, listings where you'd see multiple offers come in on homes for sale. And that starts to erode your ability to have contingencies like home inspections and other sorts of things. And also starts to put upward pressure on home prices. So I guess where I'm going with all this is rates are trading sideways. You've said it many times. You marry the house, date the rate, get out there now while the inventory is good. And there are some improvements in your ability to negotiate as you just showed on the screen. If rates do come down, if we do hit that recession, we can refinance, but you bought the home at today's price with the contingencies that you wanted, as opposed to maybe waiting when you have higher home prices and fewer sellers willing to accept your contingencies. So at the end of the day, we're about where we were last week, but that means there's opportunity there based upon what you just showed us.
Yeah. So like I said, I mean, from a buyer's perspective, you got a little tick up in the inventory here, and what I typically see of what the market does is you see a big push of inventory come out, then the buyers come out, and a lot of times you got May time frame. So when we come in next month, you got graduation parties, you start seeing it slow down a little bit, in that regards, and then people, I feel in my mind I would want if I've having a couple kiddos that I would want to be looking at houses when my kids are in school, so I don't have to have my 8, 5, and 3-year-old running around the house. I'm trying to look at houses if I'm a buyer, and so that's what you're looking at, just that timing and just kind of the daily lives of just the general population of our home buyers. And we think about that when we're going to list your house, it's like, hey, when are we going to get the most amount of buyers into your house? And that's why you see those inventories. So you get good agents that know how to time that market and have a strategy essentially of like, well, it's listed on Memorial Day weekend. Well, do you want to list it on a holiday weekend? Here's the pros and here's the cons. And those are things that we go over with you each and every time, so that and you can make that best decision. And maybe you're got a new construction house that you're going to close on in a certain month, and you work backwards and say, hey, now's the time to put that house in that market, to maximize that dollar amount for you, and a timing aspect. And sometimes it's not price is not the important thing, it's timing. It's like, hey, can we get our house sold by this day so we can close on the same day of our new house? And that's sometimes we got to be magicians to make that work. So, but yeah, if you have any questions, give us a holler, reach out to us. We like to be your real estate resource for anything. Like I said, even if you're not buying a house and you want to protest your valuation, I do those all the time. I've done it for my house, I think 3 years in a row, and I've actually won it 2 out of the 3 times. I didn't get it lower, but I got it back to where it was the previous year because I had data. I'm like, hey, here's our inventory in our area. Here's what the houses have sold for. Just because you think the market's going up, crazy, it's not. And so they're using their little formulas to increase your rates, but are they actually looking at what the market is? Some are, some aren't. So it is. It's having that evidence based in the comparable homes. And you can't argue with data. I mean, yes, you can, but when you show that evidence in that regard. So awesome. Well, appreciate you guys listening. Again, check us out on all our social media aspects of it. Appreciate you listening. If you have any questions, reach out to Russ or myself. We're easy to get a hold of, and we will catch everybody next.